Born in 1854 as the Waterbury Clock Company in Waterbury, Connecticut, Timex is an American-based watch brand that's chock full of history. Alongside several other companies that are no longer in business, the company originally produced clocks as less expensive alternatives to the high-end European counterparts in the 1850s in Connecticut's Naugatuck River Valley, a region that was once coined the Switzerland of America. Over its 170-year history, a lot has changed for the company now known as Timex. The company has gone through bankruptcy, the Great Depression, multiple world wars, and competition from every direction, both traditional watch brands and technology companies alike. And yet, they're still here with the same mission, building simple, functional, and affordable watches. Unfortunately, that sort of mission doesn't earn you a ton of points in the watch enthusiast community, and we certainly understand why. It would also appear that Timex has gotten the notice, and 2024 felt like somewhat of a turning point for the brand. The brand went on quite the run this past year, rolling out a handful of releases that were not only well received, but many of which ended up selling out rather quickly after their initial release. Releases like the 1975 revived Enigma, the Expedition GMT Titanium Automatic, and the James Brand assisted Titanium GMT being just a few of our favorites. And perhaps our favorite release from the brand this past year, the Timex Deepwater Reef 200 Titanium Automatic 41mm, released just this past October to much fanfare as well. While it's a bit too early to tell, the watch is already being crowned as not only Timex's best dive watch, but perhaps one of the best dive watches you can buy under $500. With that in mind, we've spent the past few months testing the Timex Deepwater Reef 200 Titanium Automatic, seeing how it stacked up to the early claims. Without further ado, let's dive in. While the dive watch category has remained one of the most, if not the most, popular watch categories for years, when it comes to high value proposition, affordable dive watches, the brands that typically come to mind are brands like Seiko, Citizen, Orient, and Casio, just to name a few. While Timex has a storied history of durable daily wear watches, check out their iconic torture tests from the 1950s and 1960s, a master class in mid-century advertising, where their famous "It takes a licking and keeps on ticking" slogan helped the brand become a household name. The brand has never really been known for their dive watches specifically. The Timex Deepwater Reef 200 Titanium looks to change all that. At just a quick glance, the inspiration is clear, with the Rolex Submariner being the obvious nod thanks to the Cyclops date window at the 3 o'clock position, and the overall silhouette feels very reminiscent of the current-day Tudor Pelagos from the Crown's sister brand. But that's not to say that this Timex doesn't have its own identity, because we'd argue that while it feels familiar in a lot of ways, it also feels fresh in others, especially at this price point. The real draw here, for us at least, is the value-laden package being presented. For under $500, you're getting high-end construction materials, including titanium across every piece of the watch, from the case right down to details like the bezel insert and chunky Timex stamped buckle, a workhorse Japanese automatic movement, a fully loomed dial and bezel that glows brighter than you could ever ask for at this price point, and a sport design that's reminiscent of some of our favorite divers with all of the modern features we require in a go-anywhere, do-anything timepiece. And while we'll be the first to admit this watch has served as more of a desk diver for us, the 200 meters of water resistance is nice to have in case we do decide to take a swim in the Pacific. A 70s-inspired case that's been compared by many to the Seiko 62 Moss, a comparison we can certainly appreciate. Timex's measurements show the case size at 41mm with the bezel, but the actual case measured closer to 40mm, which paired with a 13mm thickness, 47.5mm lug-to-lug, and curved caseback provided a very comfortable wearing experience for our 6.75-inch wrist shown here. The case also features a 22mm lug width. Admittedly, we are suckers for space-age materials, so Timex's recent proclivity for titanium is something that's definitely got our attention. The entire case is constructed from grade 2 brushed titanium, weighing in at just about 82 grams, and offers up a svelte, lightweight wearing experience on the wrist. The unidirectional loomed bezel is a standout feature, with the minute markers being covered in ultra-bright Swiss Super Luminova that grows a beautiful minty green, in addition to the pearl lume pip at the 12 o'clock marker. The bezel is also constructed from titanium, and we found that it provided solid haptic feedback with little to no play and great ergonomics thanks to the coined edge. The screw-down crown at the 3 o'clock position features a red rotational directional arrow and a screw-down caseback adorned with a wave-like motif, and the Timex Deepwater stamp, which further reinforces the diving DNA of this timepiece. Housing a clean black dial underneath a scratch-resistant sapphire crystal with AR coating, the Deepwater Reef 200 titanium features that previously mentioned Submariner nod with the Cyclops date window at the 3 o'clock position. And while Cyclops windows might not be for everyone, we did rather enjoy it here. It felt at home during our time with the watch. As we mentioned previously, the use of lume is one of the most impressive features of this watch. All of the applied hour marker indices, a mixture of applied round and baton indices paired with an arrow marker at the 12 o'clock, are constructed from solid blocks of lume, not painted as you would typically expect at this price point. The attention to detail obviously greatly contributes to this increased lume output we experienced. Unfortunately, we weren't as impressed with the lume applied to the skeletonized handset. We had read several reviews online of others reporting absolutely no lume whatsoever on the handset. And while we didn't share that same experience, the handset lume was not nearly as bright as the hour and bezel markers. While it's a bit difficult to see on camera, the seemingly all-black dial read slightly gray in certain lighting conditions, another detail we personally enjoyed. A white 60-minute chapter ring circles the dial, and the Timex Deepwater branding under the 12 o'clock and 3 lines of text reading automatic, 200 meters, and titanium above the 6 o'clock round out the dial details. Most Timex watches are powered by quartz movements due to their accuracy, cost-effectiveness, and affordability. While there's nothing inherently wrong with quartz watches, it's certainly not what you'd expect when paying nearly $500 for a watch. At this price point, you'd typically expect an affordable automatic movement, either from the likes of Miyota with their 9015 or Seiko with the NH3536A movements. In this case, Timex opted for the citizen-produced Miyota 8215, a dependable automatic workhorse with 21 joules, 21,600 bph at 3 Hz, and a reliable 42-hour power reserve. And, seeing that it's a newer Miyota 8215, it does feature a hacking seconds hand. While we understand that many would prefer that Timex upgrade to the more accurate Miyota 9015, we equally understand that we can't have everything we want at this price point, so this is most certainly not a deal breaker for us. We'll also note that the watch kept time as expected, adding about 10 seconds or so per day, and like many mentioned before us, the rotor noise is noticeable during daily wear, although we wouldn't classify it as loud by any means, and not something that would deter us from purchasing the watch either. Rubber straps have a long history with dive watches. They're highly durable, water resistant, flexible, comfortable, and can withstand a lot of wear and tear. And they're easy to clean. It's hard to argue there was a better choice for Timex's Deepwater Reef 200 titanium. On the wrist, the all-black rubber strap is thick, but it felt lightweight and breathable, comfortable and secure. Once secured into place, it was truly one of the more comfortable wearing experiences, even right out of the box. And the Timex stamped chunky titanium clasp was a nice finishing detail. There were, however, a few things that we didn't enjoy about the strap. The slip-through sport closure looked really clean without the use of strap keepers on the back side of the watch, but getting this watch both on and off the wrist could be quite the chore at times, with the extra strap material constantly catching in our skin, particularly in the colder weather when the strap was less pliable and more stiff. Apple employs a similar strap style with their Apple Watch Sport Band, but we've found Apple's to be more seamless during daily use, so hopefully with some tweaks, Timex can improve the wearability here. There's also a large embossed Timex logo across the strap, and while it's not the most offensive design element, we do think that minimal branding would have gone a long way here, but those are just our 2 pennies. And if the strap is a deal breaker, Timex makes swapping out the strap a breeze thanks to the integrated quick-release mechanism and popular 22mm lug width. At the end of our reviews, we always ask ourselves, is the Timex Deepwater Reef 200 titanium automatic worth it? And there's certainly no shortage of sub-500 divers on the market, so how does it stack up against the entry-level dive watch competition? For some, buying a non-Swiss-made, mass-produced dive watch from a giant conglomerate will be frowned upon, and we understand that no matter what Timex does, this may always be the case for that select group of individuals. On the flip side, it's also clear to see that Timex is really beginning to leverage their deep pockets to produce low-cost, high-feature watches with real design chops. Watches that truly appeal to enthusiasts, but are affordable enough for everyone to enjoy. Although Timex obviously didn't break the mold with the design here, we do think the total package and nearly unbeatable bang-for-your-buck value proposition makes it well worth the price tag. Mix that with the classic meets modern dive aesthetic that's hard not to love, and the overwhelmingly positive reviews, and we wouldn't be surprised to see this watch becoming a hot commodity in the Timex lineup over the long haul. As always, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know if you'd pick up the Timex Deepwater Reef 200 Titanium Automatic as your entry-level go-anywhere, do-anything dive watch. Also, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.